Okay, guys, so today we're going to talk about dynamic apex. And before I start dynamic apex, I do have a couple of questions, guys. How many of you have already enrolled in the LWC training that's happening from this weekend? And if you are interested to join, or you probably not going to join? I just wanted to get some head count.
I already previously joined
Okay, so
in the
you have
beginning.
already paid for that.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
in the very beginning before when I paid for this class.
Okay. Anybody else? You got some people might want to take a break, some people might not want to join it. It is not through me, so I won't be the instructor, but it would be through a different instructor. He's very good in LWC, so that's why we've hired him. He's very good, and tomorrow I'm doing a demo with him. So if you just want to know how his style is, how his communication is, I will send you the demo details. It will be around 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock Central Time tomorrow. Um, so just let me know if you have not yet kind of subscribed to the training. It's better to do it ahead. That way, the slots gonna get shut down because I don't want more students. 10 to 15 is good enough. And so that's why I was asking if you are planning to join the training or not. Okay. Linda, keep an eye on either my emails. I hope you're getting emails through my tutorial rack.
Oh, yeah, I've gotten them before, but yeah,
Did you get
I'll
an
look
email
for.
today?
I didn't see any, but I'll double check.
Yeah, because I want to make sure you get the meeting details for the class. And so I will be sending an email tomorrow or Thursday letting you guys know to text me or something. So that way I'll create a separate group for people who are into LWC and then they can join.
Okay, I don't have to enroll again. I'm already
No,
enrolled,
no, no.
right?
You
Or
don't have to
yeah.
enroll, but you need the
Okay.
joining details, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a different meeting details because the meeting won't happen on this bridge. It will be on a different bridge, and that bridge will be shared with the people who will be enrolling in the LWC training.
Okay. I'll
Okay?
look for it.
Yeah. Otherwise, you have my phone number, right?
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
where you
probably.
text. You probably are part of the WhatsApp group. So just text me and then I'll add you to that new group.
Okay. Sounds
Okay? What about everybody else? Mehdi, Richa, Pinal, Kushbu?
I haven't enrolled because I'm planning to traveling um end of January, so
Okay.
I haven't
No
yeah.
worries, no worries. I just wanted to know whoever is planning on to do it soon because then I know how many people are expected because some people do wait till the last minute.
Yeah.
So that's fine. It's up to you if you want to join. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead and get started with Dynamic Apex. Now, what is Dynamic Apex? So anybody wants to take a uh, shout at what Dynamic Apex is and why do we need Dynamic Apex?
I remember Dynamo is so cool. It's so cool that we are when we are dealing with changing queries. So I don't know if it's related or not.
So it come again with dynamic SQL. It is part of it, but what it is?
So when we are dealing with changing situation or changing environment like we have in SQL queries.
Okay, that's fine. So basically, dynamic SOQL is at runtime, you are passing the parameters to your query. So at the runtime, your query is being formed. It's not like select star from account where name is equals to and the value of the name is passed in dynamically. It could be passed in from a flow, from a method, etc. So that is a dynamic SQL. So today we're going to talk about dynamic Apex. Now, what is the purpose of dynamic Apex? Dynamic Apex is a way to write Apex code that decides what objects, fields, or logic to use at runtime. So there's a difference between compile time and runtime. So when you save something, it's compiled. Behind the scene, it first gets compiled. And then when you execute it, that's when the runtime begins. So at the runtime, you will know what object to use, what fields of the object are we talking about, or what logic. So it's decided at the runtime. So here, if you have let's say you are doing an operation, select star from account. Now you know that it select name from account, let's say. So it will always be account, right? So it is fixed, okay? But let's say you don't know, let's say I gave you an assignment. An assignment is you have to create a file uploader, okay? And you can upload a sheet with different types of records. So there can be a sheet with account records, like you will have account name, ID, sorry, not an ID, account name, industry, revenue, etc. Or you can have a sheet which is a lead sheet which only have lead information. So you are not going to write code thinking that, okay, hey, if it is account, then code should be this. If it is lead, then this is how you want to insert records. You want to make it dynamic enough that at runtime it will figure out, okay, what kind of sheet it is. Is it account sheet? Then, okay, go ahead and insert account records. If it is a lead sheet, then go ahead and insert lead records. So it will be dynamically, you will figure those things out. So dynamic Apex at runtime, it will be decided. And the reasons where you will use dynamic Apex is one of the example I just gave you is when you don't know what kind of objects to insert. It could be lead object, it could be account object, it could be anything. So when you don't know what object, what fields, in that case, you will use dynamic Apex and the code will dynamically figure out at runtime, it will figure out, okay, we are talking about account. So now account object fields should display. So let's say we will do an assignment here where let's say you have a drop down, okay? And in drop down, you want to display all the different object names that are available. Okay, you have all the different object names that are available. That is your drop down. And based on if you have selected account, then the second drop down will show, which will display you all the account fields. Okay, now there are hundreds of objects in Salesforce. You're not going to write a code to, if it is account, show these fields. If it is lead, show these fields. No, you can't do that. So what will happen is, in this case, you will use dynamic Apex, in which it will understand, okay, what object a user has selected, and then you'll be able to figure out the fields which are tied to that object. If the user has selected account from the dropdown, it will show account fields. If the user has selected lead from the dropdown, it will see lead. But you're not hard coding anything. You're not saying, if it is account, show me all the account fields. You're not doing that. So in dynamic Apex, there are certain objects that are given to you. There is a class called schema. Okay. Inside of the schema class, you have a method called get global describe. You have to remember these things. Okay. Get global describe. Now, this method will return you all the different objects that are available. Okay, now from this get global describe, let's say you only want to talk about account object, then you can do a get describe on the account object, which will give you information about account object itself. Okay, so it will tell you, is it a create, if the user has create permission, if the user has delete permission, like it will give you metadata about the account object. Now, from this account, if you want to get the fields, then you will have to get a field map as well from this account object. So there happens in steps. Okay, so let's first understand again, dynamic Apex is a way to write your code where it will be decided at the runtime what object we are talking about, what fields, etc. Now, dynamic apex work with objects and field that are not known in advance. When you don't know, right? Because see here, the drop down I was talking about, you don't know what the user is going to select. User can select account, user can select lead, user can select opportunity. I don't know. But I cannot write code assuming that user will always select account. If I don't know, then in that case, you will use dynamic apex. Did you guys understand when we will use dynamic apex?
Yes, I have a question. Can you explain what is the difference between runtime and compile time?
So when actually, see in Java, it was a little bit easier to explain. See, when it is figuring out if you have a any syntax error, that is compilation of your code is happening. Okay, but when actually the memory gets allocated to your variables that you have created, or any what do you call variables is main thing, or objects is being created. So in that case, you are basically is the runtime where the actual storage will be given. Compilation, it is usually checks for the errors, okay, syntax errors, variable declarations, data types. So that is the compile time. Okay, it will check. Now, if you are in the runtime, that's when you click on the button, right? That is your runtime. When you are invoking the flow, that means your flow has been invoked, or if you are doing a trigger execution. So those are in the runtime. When you write the code, it's just when you hit save, it is just compiling the code. But when that actually code gets invoked, that is the runtime. Does it make sense?
So runtime happens after compile time.
Exactly. Runtime happens after.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thanks.
Okay. So, so basically, when you don't know what will be the object, when you have, not everywhere you're going to be using dynamic apex. There are scenarios. Let's say you're building trigger framework, right? So that framework trigger, you don't want to create a, you want to create, and you will, in the real world, you will be having these trigger framework, and depending upon if it's an account, or automatically the trigger handler will be called, and then the classes from that trigger handler will be called. It is dynamically going to be calculated. Similarly, I gave you an example where, let's say you have a document. That document can have lead records, account records, opportunity records. Now, depending upon that what do you call the sheet, it could be either inserting account records or lead records. So it will be dynamically calculated. You cannot assume always that the records in this file will always be account objects. So you cannot write code according to that. So when you have to build something like this, in that case, you will use dynamic apex. Okay, any questions? Do you want me to repeat myself?
Yeah, can you repeat it again?
Okay, so dynamic apex is basically when you don't know upfront what will be the object that you will be passed, or if it is a fixed object or not. Like when you, so far we have worked with fixed objects, static code, right? You knew beforehand you're talking about account. You knew beforehand that these are the fields of the account. But when you don't know, at until runtime, it could be lead, it could be account, it could be opportunity. So your code, if let's say if you have written the code assuming it is account, will be account object, then you will be querying account related fields. But at runtime, it could be a lead object, so your code won't work at the runtime. So when you have to when you are in, when you are not sure that the what will be the object or what will be the fields, in that case you will use dynamic apex. Okay, when you are unsure of, or it could be any object out of the blue. So in that case you will use dynamic apex. Does it make sense?
Yeah, so the only scenario is that if we don't know what object we're gonna write the
Yeah,
code
or
for,
it could be multiple ones,
or
and the
multiple.
code has to work for all.
Gotcha.
right? So now the example I gave you and the project that we will be seeing is that drop down I showed, right? So the drop down, what it does, it basically first of all shows all the objects that are available in the org. It could be account, contact, opportunity, lead, etc. Now, depending upon what the user has chosen, depending upon those fields will be displayed. Now, let me show you the what I'm talking about. So let's say, I believe I do have the code. If I have not deleted it, let's see. So we go to accounts. Okay, so see here. Now this is a drop combo box or a drop box, which basically has all the list of objects that are there. Now you have not hard coded this list. Okay, I have not put all the objects into Salesforce into a form of a list and showing that. No. I have basically called this global describe, and that method gives you information about all the objects. Okay. Now, if the user has selected account from here, then it will show you the fields related to the account. And it is showing you the label of the field, the API name of the field, the data type of the field. Is it creatable? Is it updatable? All that information it is giving to you about the account. Now, my code is not saying that, okay, hey, if it is account, show these fields. No, I'm not hard coding anywhere. Similarly, if I've selected lead here, it's not hard coding the fields of the lead. So dynamically, my code is working behind the scene that, okay, if the user has selected lead, show lead fields. If the user has selected account, show account fields. So when you have to build something like this, that is when you will use dynamic Apex. Okay. So now let's go ahead and understand some of the classes and the methods you will use in Dynamic Apex. So as I mentioned, the first important class that is there is called the schema class. And in the schema class, there is a get global describe method. Now, what this global describe does, it basically returns all the objects that are available in your org. It could be standard objects or custom object. All those objects will be returned when you call schema.getGlobalDescribe. And it's giving you a map of string means the label for the object, and also schema.sObject type. Now here this schema and this schema is different. This schema is a class, this schema is a namespace. Okay, inside of this schema namespace there is a class called sObject type. Okay, so you have to remember that you cannot do anything else. You cannot call it a string of string. It is a string comma schema.sObject type. Now on further, if you want to get a information about a specific object, then what you can do, you can basically specify the object, let's say account, lead, whatever. Then you will say account.of.sObject type, nothing but the same class we got over here, the map that we retrieved. So account dot of sObject type dot get describe. Now this get describe, you are doing it on a specific object, right? You're doing it on account. So this will give you metadata about the account. It doesn't retrieve the fields of the account. It just gives you the metadata. It will tell you what is the access for the account for the user. Is it account record creatable, updatable, deletable, all of that. So it is only giving you metadata. Now, if you want to fetch fields of this account, you will basically use this one, the from here, from the above, which is nothing but, wait a minute, from this D, which is the return of what this is doing, D dot of fields dot get map. This is going to return you all the fields you have for that specific object. So here, this get describe gives you something back of return type describe as object result. That is a class available in this namespace. So these are the things you have to remember. So this gives you the S object result. From this S object result, you can fetch the fields as well. So here you're saying d.fields.getMap. So this will give me all the fields that are available in the account object. Similarly, if I change it to lead, it is going to give me lead object fields. Okay. Any questions up till this point? So I'll repeat here. First is you are calling get global describe method. This global describe method, you are calling on the schema class. And then once you get, this will give you all the object information. Okay, all the objects, no matter it's a standard, it's a custom, all that object information, this particular get global describe method will do. Once you have this objects, let's say you only are interested in account object. So account dot of s object type dot of get describe, this will give me metadata for the account. Now, if I wanted to calculate the fields, I will basically say whatever the return of this one. Okay, this describe, it is a describe s object result, and that is d. So d dot of fields dot get map is going to give me the fields of this particular account object. Okay, any questions?
So, what's the use of get map? It gives
Which
us
one? Which one?
the
So this
last
is
one.
going to give you a map of string, which is the field label, and S object field. So if you remember here, one was S object type, and this is giving you S object field, which is another class. So S object type is nothing but it gives you information about the object, and S object field is basically has metadata of the field. So get map is returning you a map, and the map is of string. So key is of the type string, and the value is of the type S object field.
So what's the return? Is it all the fields of that object?
Yes, this is going to give you all the fields of the object and the metadata of those fields.
Gotcha.
Okay, so here now let's say you are interested in a particular field of account object called industry. So you can do from this list, from this fields map, you are doing fields.get industry. So give me the industry. I'm only talking about the industry. So do a get describe on that field means give me the complete metadata of industry. Okay, so first what we started with objects. We got all the objects. Then we did fields. We got all the fields. Then from there, we got metadata for a specific field. Now let's say if the field I'm talking about is an industry field and it is a pick list, I want to retrieve the pick list values. I will go up till here and then I will do get pick list values and it will give me the pick list value for industry. Okay. Any questions, guys? Speak up if you're not following me. If you don't understand, let me know.
Yeah, can you explain the last one? So when we have the industry, what is the return on that
So
one?
when you have industry, it is giving you get describe means anytime you use get describe, it means giving the metadata, means more information about that field. That's what this get describe will give you. And the return type is of the type schema.describe field result.
Gotcha.
Okay, so these are certain things you have to remember. So one is, so the return type one is describe field result. It will give you the information about the field. Then here S object field, it will have information about all the fields. then here it is going to give you the information about the S object. So whatever the S object, that's going to give you the account metadata. Okay.
So all these are variables. Describe S object.
So these are the classes. Describe S object result is a class. D is the variable of the type describe S object result. These are classes that are defined in Apex. They're out of the box classes.
And schema. Schema is also a
Schema
class.
is also a class. Depends upon which schema. If you're talking about this schema, which is on the right side here, it is a class, schema.getGlobalDescribe, but this schema is a namespace. Okay? So this scheme, don't get confused. This schema is a namespace in which this class is present called SObjectType. This schema is a class which has a getGlobalDescribe. Now, if I go over to Salesforce and if I say, let me close this. So if I go over to schema class, it will give you all the information about the schema class. So it will tell you the, oh Jesus, there's a maintenance issue going on. Oh wow. Is it not working for anybody? Anybody else has the same issue? Let's see if this works. Okay. So this is your schema class. Inside of this, these are the methods. Get global describe. Now this returns a map of all the object names to object tokens, basically returns you the name of the object and the values for a standard and custom objects that is available in your org. So if I go to get global describe, you see the return type here. The return type is string, comma, schema dot s object type is the return type. Okay, so this is returning me this particular type. Similarly, there is a what was it called? The other one was the schema class and then global describe. Then you did S object type, right? So here there is another class called S object type, and that particular class has the method about the object that you're interested in. So if you're interested in so here it is giving you the field information, but if you want get describe, it will give you the object information. Okay, returns the describe S object result for this, for the specific field if you're interested in. Okay, so these are the classes. So if I go back again here, in this case, schema is the class name. This is the namespace. Think of it like a folder. Global describe is a method, and this GD is the variable of the type map. Does it make sense?
I didn't understand the difference between namespace and class.
Anybody wants to take a shot at what is the difference between namespace and a class? See, class is, we have namespace is like a folder. Remember the first class when we did on what is a class and what is a namespace? Namespace, think of it like a package. Inside of this, you have multiple classes. So namespace is a way to access a class from, let's say you have a namespace called schema, and this namespace has class A, class B, class C. Similarly, there can be a namespace called Maven, and there can be classes under those. So then this namespace classes only know about whatever is available in this namespace. A class from Maven does not have access to the classes from this namespace. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we always have to define namespace
No,
first.
you don't. You don't. Sometimes they belong to default namespace. So far, we have not defined any namespaces. The classes we created. These are named, these are this Apex built-in classes So they already provided that that class belong to this. So then you have to use a namespace. Not every class will have a namespace. Some of the classes will have a default namespace, and that's the classes we are working with. But this one belongs to a namespace called schema.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And class is what? Class is nothing but we talked about it, right? It's a data type. Okay. It tells you a blueprint of an object. That is what a class is. And from the class, you create objects. Objects are the one that actually occupy space in the memory. That is a class. Okay. So now, if I go ahead, everybody else understood. If you want me to repeat, let me know. Okay. Can I get a thumbs up? What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Okay. So now let's do an example related to this one. So from here, okay. So if you want to access all the objects that are available to your user, how will you do that? So this is the code accessible objects util. So let's go ahead and write an Apex class. So here I'll go to this one, developer console. File, new Apex class. Click OK. And over here, this is the method I have inside of this. Now let's understand what are we doing. So here I'm going to go to the developer console, access of util. Now, what are we doing here? So this is the method I'm calling get accessible objects. So this particular method, it is going to give me a return of list of string. Okay. Now I created a empty list here called accessible objects. So this is how you will use those methods I talked about. So schema.getGlobalDescribe, what will it give you back? Schema.getGlobalDescribe, what will this return?
List of all of the objects.
It's a map, not a list. It's a map of string, which is objects, and the schema.of s object type. So it's giving you back a map of all the objects that are there in your org. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, what is this next line? You are saying global describe map, which is nothing but this map dot key set. Now, what is this key set is going to return you? What is this key set method does?
It will return the key of that map, all the keys.
Exactly. Very good. It will return all the keys. So let's say this is your map. Map has object account. Then there is a information about account. Similarly, it has lead. It will have value is this. It could be name, industry, all of that. Similarly, opportunity. So it will return you all the keys. So this is key set. Then what we are doing, we are iterating over those keys one by one. So first time the key will have the value, let's say account. So then what we are doing is global describe map dot get object name. Now what is this going to give me? What is object name could be at, let's say this is for the keys, one of the key was account, then the key was lead. So first time object name would be what? Account.
Yeah.
Okay. So global describe map, this is the map. From this describe, get me object name. So this, what will this give me?
The name of the object, like account, lead.
The
No,
fields in the object.
no.
A
Object
name of all the
name,
objects?
what is it?
A name of all the objects
No,
in the
because
map?
see, this one is already giving you name of all the objects.
Okay.
right? Then
Yeah.
this is going to give me, okay, so tell me if there was a map, one account, two lead, three uh, opportunity. This is a map where this is your key, this is your value. If I say, and the name of the map is uh, account ID, no, ID to object map. Okay, now if I say ID to object, that is the name of the map, dot of get one, what will it give me?
Account.
Count.
Exactly. So what am I doing here?
You-
So
Getting the object
so
name.
the object name is a key here. Is that correct to say?
Yeah.
Okay. So if like for example if you have a list of objects with a key set, like one is account, so if you get the one, we'll get the account here. Is that correct to say?
Come back with your question again. What is you saying?
No, I'm just explaining if I understood it correctly. So like for example here, if like for example this is a key set, the object name. So if we get the first one, it returns the object. It returns account, for example.
Yeah, so here your map is contains object name, which is account, and then the other thing it contains is S object type, right? So it gives you something object type for account. So let's say it has all the information about the account. So this is gives you name, industry. It tells you, hey, is it creatable? Is it accessible? Is it editable? All that information. So when you do this, it gives you this part, the value part of the map, right? When you did id map dot get one, it gave you the value part of the map. Similarly, when you do this, it is giving you the value part of the map, which is nothing but of the type s object type, right? The value part of the map. When you do a get describe on it, then it gives you it is giving you the metadata for the account object. Does it make sense, guys? Get describe, you're doing it get describe on the account object for the very first time. Then you're doing it on the lead. Then you're depending on what the object name is.
So we have the account or all the fields in the account. What do we get here?
Here, you not only get the fields, you get, okay, so you get the metadata of the account.
Okay.
Okay,
But
when I say metadata, it doesn't mean all the fields of the account object. It means it tells me, do I have access to the object? Is it accessible? Is it creatable? Is it editable? These are some of the properties of that object. So all that information, I will get it in here, describe result. If I do if I do describe result dot of fields dot get map, then I will get the fields of account object.
makes sense. Okay.
Okay, so this is only giving you the metadata of the account, doesn't mean it is giving you the fields of the account object. Okay, but if I told you earlier, if you do from here, so let's go back to this again. If you do, it's a little bit not straightforward. So here, if you do something like this, so far what we did account dot s object type dot get describe. Now what is this giving you? Describe s object result back, right? This is exactly what we are doing. Account dot s object type, that is the return type of this thing. Global describe map dot get of object name. It is giving you the value part of this map. On that value, you are doing a get describe. It is giving you back the return is of the describe s object result. So it is basically has metadata of the object. This one has every object information. This is only for one specific object. So similarly, it is checking is accessible, is the method available in this class. So it is checking, does the user have access to this object? And if it does, it is adding the object name to this empty list here. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
Okay, then you are doing a sort on these objects. Basically, you're doing a sort on this list. So it will arrange it in the alphabetical order and we are returning it. So if I execute this, let's see what this is returning. If I execute this, this is how I will execute. I'm going to go ahead and execute it via this. This is the way to execute. File. Okay, it's a debug, open, execute anonymous window. And this is it. So it is going to give me all the object names that are available in the org. So here, debug only. See here, all the objects that are there. That is what it returned. Now, if you want to know what this contains, okay, you can do a simple system.of_debug. And here you can do, what is it? Describe result. Okay, let's see. That is your variable, right? So let's see if we can get something out of here. So first, this debug will be displayed. So here I'm going to go to the debug, open execute anonymous window. So let's understand. What happened? Column 11. Oh. So I cannot do, I don't have access to this. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, you can't do a debug on that one. Yeah. No, insufficient privileges. I don't know why, but it should not be. Oh, I know why. I know why. I fixed it. One second. If let's see if this works. No, it still doesn't work. Okay, that's fine. I was trying to show you this, what is available in this global describe map. So let's do this. Global describe map dot of get object name, then remove this. Okay. So here, let's understand what it is doing. Yeah, it doesn't give you much information. It just gives you describe result, the object name, and then you pretty much, yeah, I was trying to see those. So basically, it will tell you these methods you'll be able to do is accessible, is creatable. So it'll tell you, hey, do I have access on account object? Am I able to edit? Is the logged in user has access to edit the object, create the object, delete it? So you can call these further methods. Okay, now we only got list of objects, right? Now you were able to figure out how to get the list of objects, right? You will only need to do schema.get global describe. This will give you all the objects. Then what we did from this whole map, we fetched the name part, which is available in the key set. And then we did all of this. We don't have to do this. So I'm going to get rid of this. So we basically got the describe result, and then from there we are checking, do I have access? And then if I have, then I'm adding that object to this list. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the next one we have is the how do I get the fields? Okay, so far what we did is, so let me explain to you one more time. So schema.get global describe returned all the objects that are available in the org. When you did get describe on the S object, it fetches the metadata for each object. Like, is it accessible? Then you're able to call is accessible method on that, which ensure the current user has at least read access on that object or not. Okay, so it will look at the profile, permission set, object level security, and it will tell you does that access is available or not. Okay. Then next one is fetching all the accessible fields for a given object. Remember so far we were able to get the all object names. Now let's say I want to get the fields of that object. So how will I do it? So this is a util I'm creating, and here we will call this as file new apex class. This is the name, and wait a minute. Click OK. And over here, let's understand what are we doing. Okay, so now you have to tell me there is this method which returns you list of string, and it takes in the object API name. So basically, depending upon what object you are passing to this method, now you can pass a lead object, opportunity, whatever you want, but you have not written the code according to a specific object. Okay, and then depending upon the object, it will return you the fields for that object. So if you have passed lead object as the data is the value for object API name, it will give you the fields for that object. If you have given the what do you call the contact object, it will give you fields for the contact object. Okay. So now in this case, get accessible fields. What are we doing here? We are checking, is there a value present in the object API name? Okay, we are checking string is blank. Means, is there a value available? If it is not, if it is blank, then basically it will return what? Empty list of string. Okay, if you're passing empty value here. Otherwise, what are we doing here? This is returning you what? Get global describe. What it is doing?
List of objects.
List of map of objects.
Map, yes.
Map.
I keep confused. Sorry.
Yeah.
Map of objects.
Map of objects, and it is has a string as the key, and this is the value type. Okay. Then what are we doing here?
So here we check if
Uh,
if the list if the map has that object or not.
Exactly. That contains key means it is checking the keys of this map, and it is finding, does that object that I've passed, does that key exist? Means, does account exist, let's say. If it is doesn't exist, then it is returning you empty list so far, right? Because we have not set up field names so far. Field names is still an empty list. If the value doesn't available, it will still return empty. If it is existing, that means in this map, my object is available. Then what am I doing here?
So we get all the metadata of that
Object.
Is that correct?
Of that object, right? Metadata of the object
Of that
API
object.
name.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what are we checking?
And then we check if this is if that object we check within those metadata if it's accessible or not.
We are checking if that accessible, if that object is accessible or not. If it is not, we are returning an empty list again.
Right. So when we check is accessible, What does that mean? Is that the sharing setting? That's
No,
object.
it is looking at is accessible means does the user has the access, like a read
Oh,
access on the object.
gotcha,
So it
gotcha,
is looking at the OW object level settings. It is looking at the permission sets, all the profile. It is telling you, do you have access to that object or not?
gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Then what are we doing here? This is how you get the fields for that object. So object describe, which is nothing but here, dot of fields dot get map. Now this is giving you field for what? Does it give you field for every object or field for the specific object?
The specific object.
Okay, because this is giving you a describe S object result means for a specific object only. So the fields that you're getting is for a specific object. So it's giving you fields of that object. Okay. Any questions? So this is how you retrieve. Up till this point, it is only giving you the metadata. Metadata means it will tell you if the object is accessible, creatable, editable or not. But if you want to fetch the fields, you will have to do dot fields dot get map.
And I assume that would be the process, right? We fetch all the objects,
Objects,
then
yes.
the
And
object, then the fields, right? The metadata and then the field. Is that
yeah,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Okay. Then what are we doing here? Anywhere have I mentioned an object yet? No, right? I have not hard-coded account, lead, or anything like that, correct?
Right. Right.
Here, what we are doing, now we got the map of fields. From there, we get the key set of the fields, means get all the keys of that map. We are iterating over that field one by one, and we are checking, do I have access to the field or not? And if I do have access, I am adding into this field name empty list. Remember, I created an empty list in the beginning. I'm adding that field to that list and I'm returning, sorting that field names means arranging it in alphabetical order and returning those field names. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if I have to execute this, now how will I execute this? So this is the way to execute. Okay. So now I'm saying, give me the fields for, I'm calling get accessible fields, which is nothing but this method, right? Get accessible fields. It is expecting a parameter of the type string. So I'm passing the object API name. And here it is iterating over all the fields because this is returning a list, right? So I'm iterating over that list and displaying one field at a time. Okay. So here, accessible field, I'm going to do that. And here I'm going to say execute. So since I have called for account, it is returning me account fields. If I change it to lead, it is going to give me lead fields. So if I change it to lead, you will see your code is very dynamic. It is not only working with account object, it also works with lead. So lead object has these fields. If you change it to any custom object, it will give you the fields for that custom object. Any questions, guys?
No.
Are you following me? Or
Yeah,
is it too complicated?
I'm following.
Okay, what about others?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the next one we have is the pick list value. So let's say so far we were able to get account, we were able to get all the objects, then we did a field for those objects. Now let's say I want to know pick list values for a particular field, right? A field like industry has a pick list value. So how will you get pick list value? So I can go ahead and create something like this. So here I'm going to go to file, new Apex class, pick list util. And oops. Here I'm going to go to returns. Okay, now this is how you get a pick list field value. So we will go over here. Now let's understand what are we doing. Okay, Anybody else wants to take a shot at what we are doing here? Or you want me to continue? Okay, so here, this is the method get pick list value. So again, it is dynamic. You are not specifying, you are passing in the object API name and the field API name, means which object and which field. As long as it's a pick list or a multi-select pick list, we want to figure out the values, the active values for that pick list. Okay, that is the requirement. So first is we are checking, does these parameters that you are passing, is it blank or is it not blank? If it is blank, then I'm returning an empty list. Okay. Then again, I'm doing a get global describe, means give me all the objects. Then I'm checking in this map of objects that I received, does that object exist that I'm trying to get the pick list values for the field? So here I'm doing contains key, means does this map contains a key with the value of object API name? If it does not, it is returning you an empty value. If it does, we are doing a get describe on this map that we retrieved from here. And we are checking is accessible or not. If it is not accessible, we are returning. Otherwise, you are doing the same thing. Up till this point, the code is the same. Remember, till here we did get map and now we return the list of fields. Then what we are doing, this is the extra piece of code. And in this code, what we are doing, we are specifying that from this map that we got, which is a map of all the fields, get me the field what the user has passed to the method and do a get describe on that. Okay. So here the get describe field map.get is going to give you a describe on the field. So it'll give you metadata for the field. Now from this describe, you can test, what is the type of that field? Okay. If the type of the field is a pick list, if it is not pick list, and if it is not multi-select pick list, return empty values. But if it is a pick list, get me the pick list values. Okay. So from here, we got the metadata of the field. Then we checked from the metadata, what is the type of the field? Then we are checking, is the type not equals to pick list and multi-select means neither of these? If it is neither of these, we are returning with empty values. If it is pick list, then we are doing get pick list values, means return the pick list values for that particular field. And then we are sorting that list and then returning it. So if I have to call this, I'll specifically say this one, pick list util to dot pick list values. So in this class, picklist util2, I am passing in account as the object name, industry as the field name, and it will give me all the picklist values of the industry, which is agriculture, apparel, biotechnology. Now, if I chose a different, right? If I go to case has an object called field called rating, let's say, right? So let's see, will it be able to give me the values for that? So here we will go ahead and see. Nope, there's no field called rating. Does anybody tell me the case has what fields?
Status.
Yeah, thank you. So here it is going to give me close, escalated, new, verified, working. Okay. Not anywhere in the code I have written the code for a specific object or the fields, right? It is all dynamic depending upon what am I passing inside of this case and status. What am I passing in these two parameters, the object API name and the field API name? And then it is figuring out the fields. Then from the fields, it basically fetch the metadata of that specific field that I'm looking for. Then I got the pick list values, and then I displayed those pick list values. Any questions?
So on line 29, so on the last code we got the fields, but here we got all the metadata and fields too. Is that what you did?
Wait, okay. Which one are you talking about?
The line 29.
The line 29 over here is returning you the describe on the field API name, means metadata of the field. Okay? It doesn't tell you, so metadata of the field means it will tell you the type if you have to figure out the type of the field, if you have to figure out the label or the API name, that is the metadata for the field.
Right. But what is the difference between line 24 and 29?
Okay, so line 24 is giving you all the fields of that object. Here, you are fetching this particular field of that object's metadata.
Oh, so we
We got
go
all the
one
fields
level
here.
down, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Here we got all the fields. It is object describe dot fields dot get map, means for that object, give me all the fields. Here you are saying from give me the API, give me the metadata for that specific field, which is nothing but the field API name. So it will give you the metadata of industry or whatever field you are passing. Okay?
Okay. Gotcha.
So there is one point left, one example left, and let me just give you that also, is to figure out the record types. Okay, so that's all you will be doing it. You will first fetch the objects, the fields, then we did the pick list values, and then the last one is the record types. Okay, so here, simple one, record type util. So if you want to figure out what record types that object has, okay, so usually all the objects have a record type of master, but if you have created other record types, it will display all those record types. So what are we doing here? We are passing in the object name for which you want the record type, right? So here, same thing, get describe. What it is checking is all the objects, okay? Then from the objects API name dot get describe. So it is giving you metadata of the object. Okay? Metadata of the object. We don't want the fields read. Here we want the object metadata, and from that object metadata, we're calling this method called get record type infos. Now this is going to give you all the record types belonging to this object. We don't have to go to the fields. We don't have to do any of that. First, we're getting all the objects, schema.get global describe, giving you all the objects. Then from that map of those objects, you are doing get of a specific object, means give me only information about a specific object. Give me metadata for a specific object. Then if the result is not null, then you are saying object result dot of get record type infos, and then you are iterating over those record type info. And if that record type is active and it is available, means it's accessible, then you are creating a map. This is a empty map that you created earlier. So you can see here, this is a map that you are creating where it is a map of string comma ID, which is nothing but a map of the record type and the record type ID. And then you are returning that map. Okay. And now if I have to execute it, very simple, I am going to call this. Okay. For the account, give me all the record types. Now I only have master record type on the account object, so it only gave me master record type. If I chose a different one, so I do have a object called shoe order underscore underscore C, it is going to give me the all these are the different record types that are available for shoe order. So if you go to the Salesforce, go to edit, setup here, go to the object called shoe order, go to object manager, and here you selected shoe order, and you see these are the record types that are available: domestic order and international order, and that's exactly what it came with: domestic order and international order with the IDs of those record types. So now you know, if you want to dynamically fetch the uh, objects, then the fields, then the pick list values, and the record type. Those are the 4 things you need to know in Dynamic Apex, how to query all that information. And I hope I did a good job explaining to you how to do this.
Yeah, that was great. Just one quick question. How did you get the record time?
What do you mean by how do I get the record type?
But
So,
yeah, in this record, how did you fetch the record type on the Apex code?
oh, so here, right here, I did the method called get record type infos.
Okay.
Okay, that's the name of the method. It will give you, just like we had get pick list values, we have get record type infos.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Now I have an assignment for you. So basically, I know you guys don't know LWC, but you can use ChatGPT. Basically, I have a small assignment where, remember I showed you the drop down?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you build that drop down? Okay, I'll show you how the code is written. Just give me 5 more minutes and then we can wrap it up. So this is my, in the LWC Lightning Web Components, it is basically has 3 parts to it: HTML, JavaScript, and a class. Okay, your Apex class. Because if you want to get some data, if you want to fetch all that information, then you will also need a Apex class to fetch the data for you. So I have created a combo box, which is giving me all the one combo box is to display all the objects, and the other one is to display the fields of that object that I've selected. So remember that this whole thing that I showed you earlier by going over to login.salesforce, go over to Core Sintara, and over here, I want you to see if you can build something like this using a Lightning Web Component to build the UI. And then behind the scene, it is calling the Apex class. Not sure if my internet is slow or if this one. So behind the scene, this is my controller class, Object Explorer Controller. And here I'm doing the same thing. Get global describe, give me all the objects, then I am getting all the fields, accessible fields, all of that. And that is what I'm using to display on the UI. So this is a assignment I want you guys to work on and see where you are with that assignment. And if you need help, we can discuss it. Okay? But I want to kind of see what all you need for LWC. Okay, and the computer kind of gave up on me. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So if you go to the accounts object, this is the UI, a very simple UI that I want you to build. Updated account 1, and here you have select an object. Okay. Depending upon what object you select, you will see the fields of that object. Okay.
Okay.
So try to build this one. And tomorrow we will talk about test classes, and I think that should be it. I don't think I've missed any topic from Apex. Um, and if you are interested to join the LWC, you know how to enroll. You go over to my website, and over there, go over to the live training section and choose the LWC module. You can see here live training, and you can select the LWC module from here and then enroll in that training. And I'll see you on Saturday at 9 o'clock. Okay, reserve my seat and then you can select the module. If you are planning to join it, I will really appreciate if you can register early. That way I know the head count and you won't miss the seat. Okay? Okay,
Okay.
guys. Thank you very much. I will talk
Thank
to you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.